Michael Sellers was born on March 18, 1954 in Tuba City, Arizona on the Navajo Reservation. At this time, many Native American children were placed in what were called placement programs through church groups. Around the age of 4, Rick came and lived with foster parents Marshall Dowling Eddington and Dorothy Tanner Eddington. From this time, Michael became known as Ricky. This is the beginning of his two names, Michael and Rick. In 1959, the Eddington family added another member to their family, making them a family of 4. The new infant did not have a name, and Rick actually named his new sister, Sandra. In 1963, Dorothy became ill with cancer and passed away later that year, leaving Marshall with 2 young children. Many neighbors on Lakeview Drive in Clearfield helped Marshall watch the kids as he worked at Hill Air Force Base during the day. The Snows, the Lefflers, the Argyles, and the Blacks. Marshall loved bowling and was a member of a bowling league with his friends. There he met Arlene Ward, who had returned from a mission in Paraguay, South America, a few years earlier. After several months of courting, they were married, and soon the Eddington family moved to Fern Drive in Clearfield. Ricky and Sandra were introduced to music at an early age by Arlene, who was a gifted singer herself. Both children developed as pianists, with Rick having a natural ability to play. Every morning before school, both children began practice at 7 a.m. and returned to practicing after school at 4 p.m. Oftentimes, it was difficult for Rick to get up so early, so he decided to find a new way to not practice in the morning. One day, he recorded his morning technique exercises of Czerny, scales, chords, and Bach harpsichord exercises. Every morning, he would press play on the recorder and let it run for half an hour. This lasted for about a month. One morning, the tape got stuck and kept repeating the same 3 notes over and over again. Rick's room was downstairs, but Arlene heard this and she was a bit upset. Rick then had to get up a half hour earlier to practice. Despite this, Rick became an accomplished musician and won many competitions in the annual Farm Bureau talent competitions. In high school, he attended Utah State summer music programs. Sandra soon followed when she entered high school. For Sandra, Rick was her idol. He could play the piano so well. He was a natural artist and could draw anything. He played first chair clarinet in junior high and high school, so Sandra had to play the clarinet in first chair in junior high and high school as well. He played for the Mardi Gras Singers in high school, and Sandra did too, years later. Around his high school years, Rick paid more attention to Mom cooking in the kitchen. Everything was homemade. Bread smothered in hot butter was prepared, and Rick and Sandra got the first bite. Apple tarts brought wonder smells into the kitchen. There were days of canning peaches, cherries, and apples, from cowboy stew to grilled Spam with eggs. Marshall also cooked salmon patties with eggs on the weekend. But Rick enjoyed the holiday cooking. He helped Mom and learned along the way. Arlene made fudge, divinity, cookies, peanut brittle, taffy, and ribbon candy. Holiday cooking became one of Rick's favorite. We all remember his holiday detail in cooking the full meal and making sure the table was decorated with holiday decor and fine china, goblets, and candles. Rick and Sandra learned from their parents the joy of giving. Each Christmas, they piled in the car and delivered homemade platters of treats. Rick and Sandra were given strong values of helping others, the value of integrity, the value of making the bed with the corners tucked just so, or never leaving dishes in the dishwasher or sink after a meal. On many occasions, Rick and Sandra had the duty of dishes. They made it fun, laughing and taking the dish towel, winding it up, and then flipping each other, which created a swishing sound. Arlene would tell them to knock it off and stop playing. But the dishes were done without one broken. Rick went to Utah State University and majored in music, majoring in classical piano and symphony conducting, and of course Sandra also went to Utah State majoring in music. They both changed majors. Rick took a break and went to work for the IRS in Ogden for a few years, and enrolled at Weber State in the respiratory program, where he finished the program early. Rick found his passion despite at a younger age not being able to stand the sight of blood. He got wheezy when he saw someone with a major bloody nose and had to go sit down. He worked at McKay a short time before going to the University of Utah, where he remained a respiratory therapist for 35 years. He shared many stories of life flights and working in the burn unit, but his love was in the NICU. He found the work fulfilling and knew he had a gift. He saved many premature babies and was satisfied with his work. One particular case has had an impact on our family. Unbeknownst to Mike and the family, his niece Stacy was born premature. He was her respiratory therapist and took this case to heart. He met and consulted with them and walked them through how a preemie looks and what care was needed. He told them he would take care of her and that she was in good hands. Today, Stacy is a strong and healthy young woman. Mike continued to be of service at the Indian Center in Salt Lake. He would volunteer and provide workshops on health care to the Native American community. He was also put in contact with the Native American medical students at the U. He provided training and friendship. He said the most difficult thing in working with the Native American students was trying to get their fry bread recipe. He asked many times, but never got it. In his 30s, he met his longtime companion, Terry Brimhall. They lived in Murray, and many of Terry's children, Richard, Mary, and others, lived with them in Terry's small condo. They saw the kids grow up and have their own children. Terry and Mike enjoyed spending the time in the Salt Lake City Arts. They attended many plays at the Hale, local plays, and went to local city and community plays that Terry participated in. Mike enjoyed watching Terry perform. They had yearly passes to Lagoon and would often go just to eat at the barbecue house. They had their favorite restaurants, Maddox, Lakai, Cafe Rio, Chinese restaurants, In-N-Out, and Dairy Queen. He loved Utah and its beauty, often going up Provo Canyon or Pineview to see the changing leaves or fresh fallen snow. He truly loved nature and her beauty. Mike loved to travel. He traveled with Terry and Terry's children. Rick and Terry went on over 18 cruises, sometimes 2 a year, going with friends and family to the Bahamas, Caribbean, St. Croix Islands, and Belize, to name a few. He would sing, dance, and loved going for pizza or grilled sandwiches at 3 a.m. with Latrell. Cruises with Sandra and Latrell became an annual event, sometimes twice a year. Mike loved Disney World and Disneyland and sharing the fun with others. It was being with family and friends that he enjoyed. He enjoyed meeting others on the cruise and making new friends. He talked highly of his friends and coworkers at the University of Utah and missed them all when he retired in 2019. The U was his home away from home. You all know that Rick was a caring individual, and he had a good heart. He was a wonderful companion, friend, cousin, relative, uncle, and brother. If Mike loved you, you knew so, and he loved many people. Many felt his love and reciprocated. He has one special relative that has been there always, through childhood to now. That would be his cousin Winnell. 1 week last December, before he was infected with COVID, Latrell and Sandra were scheduled to go on a cruise with him, but due to COVID, it was canceled. Latrell was upset about missing the cruise and missing spending time with his Uncle Rick, who had become like a father to him for the past 13 years. When Rick learned that Latrell was down about not going on the cruise, he called Sandra and said, "I'm sending Latrell a package in the mail." The package arrived the day the cruise was set to sail. In the box was a wrapped gift for every 7 days they were to be on the cruise. Rick told Latrell to open one a day. Each gift was personal and had meaning. Sandra said that this was an example of Rick. He was selfless and full of giving. As Sandra has gathered mail since Rick has been in the hospital, she saw all the Native American charities that he gave to. Rick was a kind and generous soul, and he will be missed. Mike became infected with COVID in December 2020 and was at the Intermountain Medical Center, Promise Care Facility for the first few months, and in March 2021 went to Neuro Restorative in Riverton, where he remained until he returned to IMC last week. The family is forever grateful to the nurses, staff, respiratory, speech, occupational, and physical therapists who took care of Rick. On Monday, November 15th, Mike passed peacefully due to complications from acute respiratory failure, pseudomonas associated with pneumonia, post-ARDS pulmonary fibrosis, and SARS-CoV-2. He was a fighter and gave his all. The family wishes to thank all of you today for being here.